This is a little high. Oh, hi guys. This is as low as my tripod will go. So we'll work with it. Okay. How are you today? Say hi. Let me know where you live in the country, assuming you're in the US. Let me know where you live. And let me know, I know we've all seen rising prices, but I thought it would be interesting to just get a feel for the country as a whole. Let me know how much you feel, how greatly you feel your food prices have increased over the past few years. I can tell you here in New England, genuinely, I have seen it double in the past few years. There's nothing scientific I can give you. I haven't pulled out receipts. I just know certain stores that I go to, I'm paying twice as much, and it blows my mind continually. And it's been like a really quick rise too. Nothing gradual about it. Pretty discouraging. So anyway, but we're going to talk about how we can combat the rising food prices today. So give me a feel for what it's like for where you live, what the prices seem to be like, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Last live, which was 2 days ago, because I lost connection, my internet was not working, I didn't get to the final thing that we were going to talk about. So we're going to start with that today, and then we'll talk about combating those food prices, what we can do. Small things, but overall they make a difference. So take hope. There's hope to be had. Okay, burger shrinkage we were going to talk about. You know, you put the hamburger on the grill and you have your bun ready and your burger looks great, and then by the time it's done, it's down to this size and you need 2 of them to put on your roll. In Canada, prices are out of the world. Eggs are $8. Butter the same. Oh my goodness, that's from Rachel Fleming. Rachel, wow. Crazy. Sally, more than double in South Dakota. Okay, so I'm not crazy, because as I said that, because that's what I've been saying to Bill whenever we talk about it, that prices have doubled in a couple of years. I thought, maybe I shouldn't be saying that in my live, because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've exaggerated it in my mind. Maybe I really should pull out old receipts. But the first 2 of you who have commented, especially Shelly here in the US, are confirming that I'm not crazy. Okay. Keep the comments coming, guys. Okay, so if you have this problem with burger shrinkage, first of all, why is it happening? It's happening because it's not a high-grade beef, for one thing. It also happens naturally because there is fat in the burger. The more fat you have in the burger, the more it's going to evaporate as you cook it. They deny it, the USDA, but I also believe that a lot of beef has water added to it, and that is what is causing this huge shrinkage. But it is definitely a fact that the protein in the beef is going to break down as you heat it. And if you start off with something flat, as the protein starts to break and pull, it's going to cause it, I don't know if this image is helping you, but if this is my flat hamburger and the protein is pulling and breaking, it's going to pull it up and kind of make it go more into a ball instead of being flat. So that's just a natural thing that's going to happen. Couple simple things you can do. You can press it down on the grill with your, it's a simple word, spatula. There's another word for it on the grill. Press that down to cause the meat to adhere to your grill on the edge and not be as likely to pull up. You also, when you're making your burgers, can kind of put a little dent in the middle that will kind of compensate for that and keep it from going into a big ball shape. You can cook it for a lower time and lower temperatures. So in other words, don't oversaturate it, burn the heck out of it, and try and keep your grill on medium or low. Bixby here's a neighbor across the river. It's okay, Bix, it really is. So that's the simple things I can tell you if you're buying your meat from the store. But the really great thing I can tell you is if you are buying dry aged, pasture raised, grass fed beef, you're not going to have this problem, because dry aging is a process that it improves the meat in many ways, but it's a process that takes many weeks. They have to have a very structured environment that they are curing the meat in. And in the end, you're going to have more flavor, more texture, more tenderness, and you're going to have zero shrinkage of your meat. Now, the thing is, it costs a lot more for the beef producer because in that process, the meat is shrinking. But when they're selling it to you, it's already to its smallest size. So it costs them more for sure. Plus the whole process of dry aging, it isn't cheap. But in the end, you're winding up with this amazing beef that you're getting exactly what you paid for. You're not getting added water. You're not getting who knows what thrown in there. You're getting really good dry aged quality beef. And your burger, when you put it on the grill, is going to look the same when you take it off the grill. So there is that option. If you really go crazy with the shrinkage, try and find some dry aged beef. And of course, if you guys have been following, you know that I have a suggestion for you. I found a family I absolutely love. I was so excited. For years, I've been wanting to be able to refer people to someone that can help them. When they reach out to me and ask me for pork, we don't have beef here, but we do raise pigs. And I don't ship it. I just can't. It is way beyond what I'm able to do. And we just are really happy providing pork shares for local families that can pick up their meat. So I've been looking for years for somewhere I can refer people to. It turns out that Real Ranch not only does they do pork, but they are actually a beef facility, a beef ranch, and they have amazing meat. And they ship it across the country, and they can ship it for free. And there's a sale going on. So if you want to try out this dry aged beef I'm talking about, now is the time. I don't know if they've ever had a sale like this before, and it's not something they do often, I've been told. So definitely comment the word meat when this live is over, MEAT, and I will make sure you get all the information about everything I just said. Plus, we're doing a giveaway. You can enter the giveaway, and you might win some of this amazing dry-aged beef. Okay, so that's what we got cut off from last live. Today, we're talking about those rising food prices and what we can do to combat them. Let's see. Meg says the grocery bill is up about 50% in Michigan. Okay, so good. So it's not as, you're not seeing it hit you as badly in Michigan. Noticing most packaging is smaller. Yes. And the prices are raised. Absolutely. We saw that happening. I guess that started pre-COVID, I'm pretty sure, like 5 years ago or more. We started noticing the ice cream companies making their ice cream packages smaller, and yet the prices were the same. And the bacon was getting smaller. It's no longer a pound, but it still costs the same. And then now, so we're dealing with the smaller packages, and the prices are potentially doubling now. And Judy says in Northeast Texas, butter is nearly $9. Okay, that causes me to pause. Eggs are $4 a dozen, and so is bread. Okay. Did I get everything? I don't want to miss you guys because you guys are being so sweet to fill me in on what's happening around the country. I don't want to miss any. Did I get them all so far? Shelly says besides prices increasing, the size of the boxes are about half. Okay. Yep. They say potatoes have doubled in the last few weeks. That's also Shelly. Wow. From Kansas. Definitely prices have doubled. More than double in South Dakota. Okay. I think that's where I ended. Maine is about 50% more. Okay, so that's interesting. You're close to me. You're also here in New England, and you're not seeing it as bad as I am here in New Hampshire. All right, so what can we do? First of all, why do I have this on my screen? There we go. Before prices went crazy, this was probably 6 or 7 years ago, something that I did was I started thinking about when I wanted to improve the overall quality of what was in our pantry and what was going on our family table. I started thinking about what is something we use all the time. Like what's something that is part of our day, every day, that's kind of a crappy option right now that I could improve. And it only took me like minutes to realize, you know what I really need to look into? Tea. I think I've talked about that in this series before. Maybe it was our last series. It was probably our last series. Yeah. If you want, I'll send you a link to the playlist of our last series that we did about natural health and wellness. And that has more information about the tea. If you comment meat when this live is over. Don't comment it now, by the way, because it will be lost when I publish this. In North Texas, we used to have sales on butter for $2 a pound. You know, we used to have it that crazy too. She would fill her freezer. Yes, that's from Garden Girl. Then we're going to get to the freezer, so hold on. Okay, so for us it was tea, and I realized that was the one thing that I wanted to make sure I was having high quality, because we were drinking so much of it in all the different ways, and even in my kombucha. Kombucha is when I first started thinking about tea, by the way, when I started making kombucha. And that's where I realized I want to invest more money so that I have a really high quality option that tastes better, that's much better for us, that has no pesticides, that has no bleach bags. And that's where I started my whole journey of improving our family's table. So that's one thing that I would first tell you. As prices are rising, realize that you can't choose the best for everything. You can't, because things are getting, even the bad food is getting expensive, right? As far as the non-healthy options. So think about what you eat the most and start there, because that's going to have the most impact on your overall health if it's something you are eating or drinking daily. For us, meat was another thing with that, because we do eat a lot of meat, and that's the next part of it. Think about what's really important to your health. For tea, the pesticides I learned about, I thought, this is not good that we're drinking all these pesticides. And then for meat, when I started really looking into protein and why protein was so important for our health, I thought, okay, we eat a lot of it and it's really important for us. I need to be getting a higher quality meat. And then I know that it's hard, the price of everything, the price that we're spending on food. So you need to make it part of your monthly plan. You absolutely, more than ever, have to budget in for food. And unfortunately, you have to, from the sounds of everybody else, you guys are agreeing, you have to up that maybe twice what it was a few years ago, what you're budgeting for. It's just a fact. And that means that some things aren't happening anymore. Vacations might not be happening. A new car? Nope, because a car payment is going to be something that sends our monthly budget out of whack, but I can do the repairs needed on the car and not have to think about our current car or pay anything towards it for another couple of years, right? So stuff like that. You just really have to figure out the nitty-gritty of the budget. And also something I never thought about before, but you can really look locally and find a farmer, a rancher, depending on where you live. By local, it might be a few hours away for you, but that gives you options. And if it is something you're not even a few hours in range of, or you just don't want to drive that far to find a ranch, depending on where you live in the country, maybe it's not a possibility. I'm going to help Monday. Our next in this series of lives is going to be about finding a good source, how you go about it, how you find out if there is something local. So stay tuned for that in our next live in this series. But ask the rancher or the farmer what their options are, because they very well might have options that you don't have to buy a whole cow. You can buy an eighth of a cow. That's what they do with the ranch that I'm going to send you information on. They go down as far as an eighth of a share of a cow. So you can do it in smaller increments. And what else? You can also, for things that aren't meat, buy in bulk. It took me a long time to figure this one out, but my source for most of my bulk food now is Azure Standard. If you don't know who that is, I will send you the information when you comment meat. That'll be part of what I send you. They are an amazing food source for things in bulk, but as well as that, things that are high quality, that are nutrient rich. And I'm not getting junk, I'm getting good stuff, but because I'm buying it in bulk, I'm actually getting it at the same price sometimes as the junk stuff. And then figure out food storage. I have some resources about that. We'll probably do future lives about that even. Just, it's not as hard as you think. It really isn't. You really can buy in bulk, get something at a much smaller price per serving. And it's also so convenient because you have it around. You don't have to be running to the store if you live in the boondocks like I do. That comes in really handy. And then the final thing, one of you mentioned it, is the freezer. Freezers are a godsend for us. We literally have 4 freezers. Now, part of that is because we do raise our own pigs. That's a big reason why we have 4 freezers. Yes, I said 4. Right now, only 3 are running because we do keep the meat, we keep it moving and compact so that when we can turn 1 or 2 off if we don't need them all. But Freezers will save you so much money in the long run, especially if you have a good freezer that's rather newer and that's efficient. Don't go to Facebook Market and spend $100 and get a freezer that's from 1970 in somebody's grandma's basement, because that's going to cost you a lot more in the long run in your electric use, and it might not work well, and you might lose all your meat in the freezer, which would really stink. So invest in a freezer up front that's good, and it's going to save you so much in the long run. You're going to be able to stock up on the food when it's on sale or at a better price. You can get a lot of it and you can have it available. It makes a huge difference in our food budget. So those are the things that I've thought of. You guys comment, let me know other thoughts you have of ways to combat the rising food prices. God in the Garden says Wisconsin, it's very hard to find things on sale. That's another good that's a really good point. I used to be able to just really be careful with what I was buying when, and if it wasn't on sale, I wouldn't buy it yet, and I'd keep my lists of when during the year things were a better price typically at the store, and it's not really possible now. Now a sale price, if you're really lucky, is getting close to what the price used to be a couple of years ago, right? It's not something to write home about and to really stock up on, so that's a really good point. We buy a portion of cow from a local farmer for beef every year. Someone we know personally, that's God in the Garden. Yes. And knowing your rancher or your farmer is makes a huge difference. We've talked about that in previous lives in this series. They're all going to be in a playlist, by the way. I will send you information about that and send you the link when it's ready. It won't be until maybe next week. They're going to go up one at a time. If you come at meat when this live is over. Bucket information. Yes, Shelly, that is so important. I will put that, I'm glad you said that. I will put that in the information I send out later today. If you comment meat, I will send you that information, and I will put that there. The buckets are important. I will let you know where I source them. The lids are very important. If you don't have a good lid with a good seal, then you're wasting your time and a whole lot of money because your food might not stay fresh. So yes, good point, Shelly. I will share that with you. Okay. That's it for today, guys. Join me on the next one. We'll be talking about how on earth you find a good source for meat, what you look for, what you ask the farmer, all that good stuff. Thanks, guys. Be sure to comment meat.